Alright, well welcome everybody to Old Fort Niagara. My name is Hannah, I'm one of our historic interpreters here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a historic dessert in your very own homes. This is a recipe called oatmeal pudding, and it's not like the Jello mix pudding that you might get at the grocery store today or like the snack packs. This is a little bit different. It's a little more like a bread pudding or a rice pudding, if you're familiar with those. The original recipes were pretty huge quantities. We're talking like a pint of oatmeal, a pound of sugar, a pound of butter. That's just too much. So I've scaled them down to be more compatible with a modern palate and a modern kitchen. So for this recipe, you are going to need the following items. First and most obviously, you're going to need 2 cups of oatmeal. You're going to need 2 cups of milk or water. You're going to need 4 eggs, which we're going to be separating later on, so you'll need 2 bowls for the eggs. You're also going to be needing dried fruit of your choice. I chose dried cranberries. You're going to need 3/4 cup of sugar to start with, ground nutmeg, some cinnamon, at least 1 tablespoon of butter, and then you're also going to need some breadcrumbs, which depending on how your pudding turns out, you might need them to thicken it up a little bit. Those are totally optional. So you're also going to need a baking dish. We are going to be using a pie plate like this. So first we're going to just crack in the first 2 whole eggs, just like this. Now we're going to have to separate them a little bit. So I'm going to be putting the whites into the small bowl and then the yolks into the big bowl. And the big bowl is what's going to end up in the actual pudding. But you really just want to make sure that those eggs get really blended well and get whipped up really well, really fluffy and light. So step 1 is to cook your oatmeal. Either way, you're going to want to make it so that it's really thick. The historic recipes say that you should hardly be able to pull a spoon through it. So our next step, which I totally forgot to tell in the beginning, but what you can do right now, is you need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. But after you've done that, we're coming back to our oatmeal, which has been cooling, and we're going to be adding in the next couple ingredients. And when your oatmeal is done cooking, while it's still hot, pull it off the heat, so turn off the heat, and then you're going to take a tablespoon of butter and just stir that in. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So now my butter is all stirred in. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to set it aside because we want that oatmeal to cool down to really close to room temperature or colder. So first we're going to add in our sugar, and again that was about 3/4 cup of sugar, but if you're like me and you have a particularly big sweet tooth, you can always add in more if you need to. But we've got our sugar all mixed in, and so now I'm going to add some dried fruit. Again, I've chosen cranberries, but you can pick any dried fruit that suits your fancy. Our last ingredient that we're going to be adding is a little bit of nutmeg and then a little bit of cinnamon as well. But if you're ready, the next step is we're going to be adding the eggs. And you're just going to gently kind of pour them in. Yeah, so that, I think I'm going to call that good. And I'm going to move on to preparing my pan. Our next step is we're going to be buttering our dish. But you do need to butter it really well to make sure that nothing is going to stick. So now that that is all buttered up, it's time to pour in our pudding mix. So I'm going to give this one last good stir. And I'm going to pour it in, and try and pour it in as evenly as you can. Using your spoon to kind of smooth it out so that it looks really nice. Our final step is our oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we are going to put it into the oven for 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, your oatmeal pudding should be finished. And like most baked goods that have a wet component, you're going to want to test it with a fork or a butter knife or a toothpick. Poke it in there. If it comes out clean, it's all done. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it out. Oh yeah, that looks definitely done. And the golden brown edges are always a good sign. Here is my very slippery finished product. Looks very nice. I'm going to take my butter knife here, give it a good poke. Came out clean, so it is done. Set it down there. And there we have it. That's oatmeal pudding from the 18th century. Thank you so so much for watching. Again, my name's Hannah, and if you make this, let us know how it goes down below in the comments, but otherwise keep your eyes posted on our Facebook page for more videos coming up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.